Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to talk about some of the baits that we might customize that may not be something right out of the package. One very popular, most people throw it. It's a spinner bait, but not just any spinner bait. But what you're going to notice is I've done something a little bit different. My trailer, instead of a standard trailer with some people put a grub on there, split tail grub. What I've done is I've actually done something, and I can't take credit for it, somebody showed me, but I've actually taken, these are little cups that you can put rattlers in above a Texas rig, and I've actually taken swivels, that thing's probably spinning like crazy. I've taken swivels and I've glued them inside those cups, and it's got two spinners back there. And yes, they do spin like crazy. I've got a little fan blowing over here, so it's spinning. But what I have is when I get done, I've actually got spinner legs on a spinner bait. So when it's coming through the water, I've got a pair of legs that are spinning back here behind it. Of course, I've got these. Now, where we find this, now I did nickel on one side, gold on the other. And of course, I've got a gold and a nickel on the top side up here also, on a white and chartreuse, and looks really cool coming through the water. We'll show you some clips of that on the water. All right, and as you can see, coming through the water, you're getting a lot of flash off the tail end, but it's not dragging way behind. The thing I like about it is like an extra flash. It is like some legs back there kicking, but there's not a lot of mass there. So when a fish comes up and bites it, I mean, there's not a whole lot back here to get in the way and bite a whole bunch of. So your hook's very exposed. Sometimes they put fat trailers on there, little swim bait style trailers, and they take up so much space. There's just not a whole lot of meat of the hook. And as you can tell, there's not a whole lot of restriction there. He can get a mouthful of hook there. So this is one of our baits that we've customized, very different. I hadn't seen anything in production. I'll probably kick myself in the rear end for not putting this in production. All right, guys, another bait, a little bit different. Everybody's talking about a Carolina rig. Everybody throws Carolina rig. They put swivels and leaders, and some people got fluorocarbon down to a mono leader because a mono will float, and I want that thing to stay up in the air. I do have a little secret working on that. I'm going to hopefully bring that to you in some other videos later on. I'm working on something new for that. Today, I'm going to talk about a modified Carolina rig. And when I say modified, I'm going to change the way I do this depending on the type of grass I'm fishing in or what kind of bottom I have. Now here, this is a power hog. We'll do this. We'll also put sweet beavers on there, creature baits. This is just a power hog is a shorter version of a brush hog. As you can see, it's not real big. Got a 3/0 hook in there, but I'm braid all the way. Now here's where the key comes in for this. Hopefully you can see this. You can see this bobber stopper right here. Okay, I can adjust that bobber stopper up. I can slide this weight up, and I've got another bobber stopper right underneath it. So I peg that weight, and see, it's not going anywhere. But notice I've only got about 12 to 13 inches of a leader there. Now, what I'm doing here is we're going to be fishing shallow water. Well, shallow water Carolina rig, why? I don't need a 30-inch or 36-inch, 40-inch leader with a big heavy swivel and a 1/2 ounce weight. The thing's not falling that deep. So here I'm going to, this is an 1/8 ounce. I've got an 1/8 ounce tungsten pegged. I'm going with about 13 inches of leader there. This thing's gonna fall. It's gonna come down not real fast. It's gonna hit. And then this creature bait or whatever we're throwing at the time, it does have a little bit of a slower fall. Now, when I'm working this, a lot of times I'm working this through some thinner grass, short grass. And then what we're gonna work in tomorrow is probably gonna have about 12 to 13 inches off a bottom max. A lot of it's dead grass too. And dead grass is a pain because it gets tangled up on your bait a lot, makes a mess out of it. But what we're finding is when this goes down, especially by a cypress tree, it goes down, hits bottom, and this thing just flutters down after it, we get an immediate strike. And normally you can shake it at them, pull it out of there, and flip it back in. And I know power fishermen, they're going to be like, all right, look, slide that thing down, put the weight right against it, throw it in there, let it hit bottom, shake it at them on bottom, and just power fish it. Well, we do that too, but not with that grass on bottom. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide that up. We're going to get us about 13-inch leader. That's going to hit bottom. This is going to filter down. Then it's going to land. A lot of times it will lay on top of that grass. This is down on bottom. This is on top of the grass because it's kind of some messy grass. And then when you're shaking this, what you're doing is you're bouncing this and you're shaking it, but that base just sitting on top of the grass. So it's just bouncing and bouncing around on top of that grass, shaking. And a lot of times they'll come by and they can't resist it. They just come by and smash it. Whereas if I was to slide this weight down and it gets down inside that grass and it gets buried up and gets wadded up with grass on, and you can shake it all you want, but you've actually got to pull it up out of that and then let it fall again and hope he hits on the bite. This gives you a slower bite. Then comes the next question. Why don't you just go weightless and let it sit on top of the grass and fish it weightless all the time? Well, we do that also. But what we find is in 5 foot of water, you throw it out there. I don't want to spend, 5 minutes per tree going down through this lake when I got 1,000 trees to flip out. I want this to get on down there and get to bottom, sit down on there and let this sit on top. I'm going to shake the fire out of it. I might move it a little bit, move it away from the tree a little bit. When I get it out of there, I go back into the next tree. I want that thing to get down to bottom. Sure, can you go heavier than 1/8 ounce? Sure you can. But I don't want to go crashing in there with a 3/4 ounce weight and you definitely don't want the swivel and all that stuff and a leader. And the reason I don't is because I don't want more stuff for that grass to get hung on and clutter up on them. That's more for me. I have to clean it off of. This is a sleek, real sleek design, real easy to get the grass off of. A lot of times I can bounce it, jerk it through the water kind of hard. And I go with I don't put a leader. This is all braid all the way down. And I don't go with a leader because I want to be able to adjust this. If this isn't working, sure, I can come back. I can move up. And I'll work around until I find what works. And when I find what works, hey, I'm 100% on it, that's where that sucker's going to sit. And then we'll just start trying different baits until we hit that home run with that bait. I promise if you bass fish, you've heard of June bug and you've heard of green pumpkin. Because about everybody I've watched on any kind of YouTube or anybody I've talked to at tournaments, June bug and green pumpkin, those are going to be in the boat. All right, guys. We have, hopefully you got to see some of this on the water footage and see how some of these things look and how they're working. We'll get you a chance to hopefully see some fish caught with them. And we appreciate you. Come back and check us out. Thanks.